Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over another installment of how to play the Colle from the white perspective. In this one we're taking a look at one of the main lines, which is to play d takes c5 and then pawn to b4, hitting the center right away. And a lot of players from the black perspective, myself included when I was first starting to learn, did not know how to play this correctly. In fact, in this game we're going to be taking a look at the idea of black playing pawn e5. e5 is way too ambitious here for black and just creates weaknesses, and in this game white exploits it beautifully. So enjoy the game. Here we go. We start off with pawn to d4, pawn to d5, knight f3, e6, pawn e3. We got our Colle over here. Black plays c5, one of the best moves here. Remember, the faster you try to attack d4, the better you're going to be with your c-pawn. Here white plays pawn c3 automatically. It's just one of those moves that when they do it, you just reply back with this. Black plays knight f6. And here the next piece we're going to move is our bishop. Where's the best square? Of course, we're going to play it to bishop to d3. And here, one of the reasons why we do it is because it attacks h7. Remember, whenever black castles, h7 is going to be the main weakness. In fact, in this game, black is going to fall for an attack against it. So, black continues with knight c6. Knight b to d2, the best square for the knight. And black plays bishop b7. As I've said before on some of these videos, I definitely think bishop d6 is a better way to play. Just remember, in these lines for the TLC or the Torrey London Colle, white does basically almost the same setup with the pawn structure, and the only difference is where you put the bishop. But the main point of all these openings is to control this e5 square. So that's why I definitely think bishop to d6 is going to be a better try in these lines. And here, well, let's go ahead and continue. White castles, black castles, and here white goes ahead and plays queen e2, a very good move. Now this is getting ready to prepare that idea of playing pawn to e4. And here, black goes ahead and plays rook e8. Definitely not the best move in my opinion. I think something like pawn b6 is much better, just trying to get the bishop out to b7 as soon as possible. But here, black plays rook e8. Here, I think a lot of times what happens is black is trying to prepare pawn to e5, which would make more sense if the bishop was on d6 here, because e5 would be, well, ready to be played right away. And, well, here we're going to continue with our best line, which is d takes on c5 here. Now here a lot of people may be asking, why does white play d takes c5 here right away instead of just playing pawn to e4? Well, the reason white does this is because, well, not all Colle players like to play isolated pawn. I love to play isolated pawn, but not all Colle players do. So notice if we did play pawn to e4 right away, here black can do the best idea, which is pawn takes on d4, pawn takes on d4, and then look to take on e4 here. And now you see that black has successfully created this isolated pawn. So how does white get past this? As we just said, white is going to go ahead and play d takes c5 first. Now this does give away one of your center pawns, but here we're going to be able to play e4 without that weakness of the d4 pawn. I mean, black has nothing better. Bishop takes on c5, and then we play pawn to e4. Again, this is just a very standard way to play here for white. And here white has many good threats in this position. One of them being pawn to e5. And you can see if white gets the pawn to e5, it's going to kick the knight, and the bishop will have full attack on h7. And as I said before, this is one of the biggest weak squares. And here, as I said before, black does not play the best move here. I mean, earlier he definitely should have played b6 or something better. Again, rook e8 was just not the best move here either. And so here he makes the mistake, as I've done before here as black, and played pawn to e5. Now, why is this bad? Because, believe it or not, the e5 pawn can become a weakness here. And we're going to be seeing white take full advantage of the weak light squares that are created after taking on d5. And, well, what's the best move here? I just said it. It's e takes on d5 here. This opens up the bishop. And, well, white has no weaknesses in this position as far as pawn structure goes. So white can just start creating threats as soon as possible. Again, black has nothing better. He played knight takes on d5. And this move makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think a lot of people here looking at this are going to say, you know what? Black actually looks pretty good here. I have a pawn in the center. White does not. And, well, I have my pieces very well set up in the center. And, yeah, I don't see what the big deal is. Here we're going to see white do a very nice attacking idea. And here they're going to go ahead and start off with knight to b3. Now, knight b3 is a good move, but can you find the better move here? What do you play here as white? What was the best move here? All right, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking is going to share this video with more chess players. So here, knight b3 is the right idea, but not the best move. What's the idea? We open up the knight to attack the bishop, and here black had a threat of knight f4, which we want to cover with our bishop on c1. So what was better? Here, go for the attack. Knight e4 is everything that you want. The knight is heading over to g5 to put more pressure on h7. The bishop comes out, and the knight attacks the bishop on c5 here. A very good move. We'll go ahead and give it to him. Knight b3 is still a decent move here, but not the best. Anyways, after knight b3 gets played here, attacking the bishop, here the bishop went ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I believe the bishop should have retreated here, but black plays queen to b6, and this allows a quick combination to win a pawn. I'll give you a hint. The knight on d5 is unprotected, and as I've said before, the light squares are weak. White to move. What do you play? Here, with a simple idea, we go ahead and play bishop takes on h7 check. King takes, and then queen to e4 check, winning the knight. Now here, I definitely pose people to think about it. Why not try queen e4 attacking the knight here and attacking on h7? Don't you just win a full piece here? Remember, you should always be thinking about your opponent's moves. If queen to e4 gets played, we attack the knight, but black simply just plays knight to f6, and all of a sudden, black's position is actually much better here. He's going to be able to keep his bishop pair, and everything is being protected. So that's why we go ahead and play it. Bishop takes on h7 check, king takes, queen e4 check, king to g8, and queen takes on d5. And we even get a nice threat here by attacking the bishop on c5. And here for the rest of the game, white just plays nice simple chess here and is able to win a very good game. I mean, we're just up a pawn here for no good reason, so simple moves here should win the game. But I will say that the king side here for black is actually very bad. So let's continue. We go ahead and play bishop to f8, not the best move, but I mean, this move definitely makes sense to me. It looks like black is going to try and play pawn g6, bishop g7, and fianchetto. With the king side already weak, I'm surprised this is not just the best move. And here, well, white's going to play the best moves here. Continue the attack. What do you play? Nice simple chess here. Knight to g5 gets played, putting pressure on f7. Black here played the response I think most people were going to play here. Bishop e6, defending and attacking the queen. But again, look for those weak squares. Let's attack them. The queen moves and makes a threat. Queen to e4, threatening h7 checkmate. Again, black responds with a typical move, g6. And now we see why it's so bad to have lost the h-pawn. Now the h-file is just weak here. So continue the attack. Queen h4, queen h7 checkmate is now being threatened. All right, black really has only one good response here. He's going to go ahead and play bishop g7. This is going to block off the queen from coming in for more attacking ideas, and also the bishop belonged here anyways. And here, many people would probably continue with queen h7 check, but this does not lead to checkmate and really kind of just waste time. Here, remember, you can't checkmate with just one piece or even two. A lot of times they say 3 piece is a checkmate. So let's go ahead and continue developing. Let's continue making threats. What do you play here? One of the ideas is that if the king can get to f8, well, then this would just be checkmate. Hopefully that gave you a good idea. What do you play? Here we get to play bishop to e3, developing and attacking the queen. One of the ideas of being bishop to c5. Okay, black went ahead and responded with queen to a6, makes sense. And here, well, bishop c5 can get played, but this unfortunately will not lead to checkmate, as black will just play knight to e7 here. And queen h7 check, the king can seek shelter on f8. I'm not saying that this is a great position here for black, but black is able to survive. The main line that white chooses here is much stronger. Here white comes in with a very strong attacking game now. What do you play here? Here, like I said, let's bring in more pieces. The more pieces, the better. Here, knight c5 gets played, forking the queen and the bishop here on e6. The queen to a6 was definitely just a bad square for the queen. The queen went ahead and played over to c4. Black says, hey, do you want to trade queens here? Of course, we don't want to. We are attacking. We want to keep the queens on the board. So we play queen h7 check, a little in-between move here. And after king f8, let's go to continue the attack. It's white to move and get into, well, we're already into winning position. So let's say we get to win some material here. What do you play now? Well, hopefully you push pause and try to figure it out. Here we get to play the very nice move of knight c takes on e6. Now, I know you're looking at knight g takes on e6 too, which is also a good move, but just keep in mind, you want to keep this knight over here because f7 is a checkmate square. As we'll see shortly, this is going to be very helpful. The knight on c5 is definitely a good piece, but again, the queen and knight are going to work over here for the checkmate. So after we take on e6 here, black went ahead and took on e6 with the pawn. I mean, if you take with the rook, well, I'll probably just go and take on e6 and go into a winning endgame here, or just a winning attack because I'm up the exchange. The exchange meaning I have a knight for a rook over here for black. So yeah, this would just be winning. That's why black went ahead and just took back with the pawn. But again, this is just losing. Now we see why the knight was so important to control on f7. We go ahead and take on g6, queen to f7, checkmate. It's now being threatened. Black tried knight to d8 here, but the attack just keeps coming. And after this last move, black really just resigns. Here, white went ahead and just played knight to h7 check. And yeah, every move here is just losing. If you play the king to e7, we're going to go and take on g7 for a free bishop. If you play king to g8, what do you play here? Here, the game would end pretty fast here. You can just take the rook on e8, but remember, when you see a good move, look for a better one. Here we have checkmate in 2 with knight f6 check. It doesn't matter if the king goes to h8, it's checkmate on h7, or if it goes to f8, it's checkmate on e8. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Remember, this was the line about playing d takes c5 and then playing pawn to e4. Remember, although e5 looks like a good move here for black, it is actually not the best. It actually just creates a lot of weak squares on the light squares here for white to attack. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.